Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Codex. Today I'm going to be laying down the first few buildings of the downtown and setting up the transit in the city. Like I said in the previous episode, I need good transit in the city, so this will not only include the outside connections but also the intracity transit. So to start with, I'm laying down the tracks which lead to the central station, which is going to be the only station where I want outside trains coming. So what you're seeing me do right now is just me measuring a few things so that I can make the tracks exactly parallel to the highway I've built there, as you can see. So this is the entrance to the city for both cars and trains. So I want the trains to take a hard left from here and then a hard right, which will take the trains right into the city from the elevated tracks. What I had planned is that I'm going to be keeping all the trains elevated and away from the ground at least. And that I think has come out pretty well, since actually I have used Overhaul Mod a lot while making the rail networks perfect. So yeah, that's there. So I had to give a direct route for the goods trains coming from outside towards the port. So this is what you are seeing me do right now. I've given a dedicated track for those goods trains to get into the port, and I think that's better because that reduces train traffic a lot. So what you're seeing me build right now is actually the passenger line. What I imagined was that my goods train would be on the ground. As you can see, I've made a track at the bottom right there, and then I thought that no, let's just keep everything elevated. So now you're seeing me build another track parallel to the passenger track. So separating the cargo and passenger rail is a very crucial part of designing your rail network. Once you've built industries, you'll see a huge number of cargo trains come in and out, and even transfer goods from one type to another. For example, a truck starts from an industry and goes to the nearest freight terminal. From there, the trains will take it to your port or to the cargo terminals of your airport. So that is another source of rail traffic. Plus, you'll see a huge population influx when you build industries, because there'll be a lot of jobs available and people will want to move in via trains. With so many passenger trains coming from your outside connections and your inter and intracity cargo rail traffic on the same track, it'll clog your rail network, which will further lead to failure of your entire transit system. So I didn't want to separate my cargo and my passenger train network. So what I did was I tried joining the cargo rail and passenger rail here so that they would head for the outside connections on the same track from here onwards.
I think I need therapy or just some more whiskey. I can't seem to understand how you do this to me. You've been running in circles inside my head. Wasn't looking for love, but baby, I found you instead.
Here I've made another track for the internal cargo trains to head towards the port. There was a connection before for the external trains to get into the port, but we had to give a way for the internal trains to reach the port, because trains need to get to the port to transfer the goods.
I think I need to confess. Saw you in the red dress. can't seem to understand how you got all that finesse. Still be running.
So what you're seeing me build right now is actually from the north side of the city, and from the north side right now I've only built the passenger line because I had to develop the city a bit more to build the cargo line, because there is a bit more things which I'm supposed to add before this cargo line reaches the industrial area. So if you're noticing any pauses in between while in the time lapse, that's just me measuring things out before building and trying to get things right so that I do not mess up. So this passenger line just comes and connects into the central station, which will further lead to the other side, which I was just building. And like I mentioned before, there would be a cargo line which will be running towards the east, where you can see the suburb 2 is written. There will also be a passenger line running right parallel to that cargo line, and these tracks which I'm making right now, which are heading straight, will go and connect to those. So I've made 2 parallel tracks over here. The left one will obviously turn towards the left and merge into the passenger line which I just spoke of, and the right one will turn right and merge into the passenger line.
If you wanna have it, then it's yours. Put your mind to an open door. Yeah, you might wanna get a fast track, but you can't just piggyback.
After removing the trees, now I'm building the roads which will help people access the central station from both the sides. And I will be building parking around this, and these roads, these assets which I've got from the Steam workshop, again I really like these because they have these protected cycling lanes also with trees and everything in the middle. So I genuinely like these roads a lot, and I will be using them throughout the project. So I'm using the network skins mod over here to actually change the trees on the median and even the lights. As you can see, the actual lights are orangish, but I have used a different toll road light which are a bit more beautiful. I think it looks beautiful in my opinion.
Before school's gotta get worse, and sometimes it's gonna hurt. If you're ever gonna get that bad, then you better plan your attack. You're braver than you know it. You're stronger than you show it. You're braver than you know it. You're stronger.
So I'm using the parking lot roads assets from the Steam workshop again, and as you can see, I've added the electric car parking over there, a few normal car parkings, and I will be adding the handicapped car parking right next to the station because I think those are supposed to be the closest. So these are the handicapped car parking which I just spoke of, and there's something I want to talk about the game in general, that The assets which I've used, I mean, you might have seen till now, I've used many Steam Workshop assets. They're pretty detailed. This is one thing which I like about the game, that you can detail it to another level. Especially if you're using mods and assets, they're just amazing. And there's an endless supply of mods and assets on the Steam Workshop, which is one thing I love about this game.
Can't kiss my breath. There's sand in the hourglass.
So the tool I'm using right now is called Move It. It's again a mod which, like I told, mods are very helpful over here. And trust me, this Move It mod helps you copy things, move them, even if you have placed them once, because actually the game takes more money to build and then move things from where you have originally placed them. And I think Move It mod has helped me throughout the project, not only with moving buildings but making smoother slopes, whether it's with my highways, whether it's with my train tracks or anything, or maybe giving the rip tracks a bit more smoother curve. It's amazing.
Only you.
So the tool you're seeing me use right now is called the Extra Landscaping tool, and this tool is actually available only in the map editor, but using this mod you can use it in game. So what the mod actually allows you to do is that you can landscape in a much easier way, like how you do in the map editor, because in general in the base game the map these tools are not available. And I mean, they are available, but they're a bit more complicated, and it allows you to brush trees over large areas, because in the base game you have to plop the trees one by one manually, which is a pretty annoying task.
A new force in nature that brings me to life. Baby, I can't help it.
So you just saw me design the basic grid structure of the downtown, and I think this is how the downtown looks right now also, to be honest. And the grid structure didn't change at all. If you were wondering why I added those parkings in the middle in front of the buildings, this is because I have enabled the advanced parking AI in the Traffic Manager President Edition. So for the people who are coming after watching any other City Skylines creator, you might have noticed that they detail every single building very nicely, and you might be wondering why am I not doing that. So my main aim is, like I said, is to build the biggest city, and when you're building such a big city, you have to focus on the big picture than the smaller details. I mean, you can see that I am plopping a few buildings down over here using the Plop the Growables and Ploppable Reco mod. So you might be wondering why am I not plopping buildings in my grid block by block. So what my actual plan is that I would manually plop the bigger buildings in the city which define my skyline, and I would zone the rest of them which can grow over time, because plopping every single one of them is going to be a very tedious task. So this is the part where I start building the northern downtown residential, and I'm giving it its own connection from the highway, though it will be connected to the other intersections which were built before, which are actually coming from the office side. But I wanted to give it its own intersection so that people, don't have to go through the entire downtown to get to their homes. So I think this was pretty decent. I just copied one of those intersections using Move It mod, and I placed them here, and I changed heights of the 6-lane roads which are there below. As you can see, I'm doing that right now.
For the night, only focusing on us tonight. 4 a.m. is calling, even though I'm falling down. No gotta stress around. Out for the night. Don't bring me down. Need to get lost in this town. Walk away. Need to leave that stress up there. Ooh, I can feel it.
Again, here the process of making the grid is same as what we did for the offices. I'm making blocks of constant sizes, and I am adding a back alley kind of a road behind it, and I'm adding parking over there, except That's the only difference. And yeah, parking I'm adding because I have enabled this thing called as the advanced parking AI from the traffic manager president edition, and that helps the citizens park in more better places than just leave their cars on the road. So here I was just trying to match the grid layout on the other side of the river so that it looks decent, and there's no diagonal bridges going. So again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm adding the absolute largest buildings from the ploppable Rico residential part, and I'm trying to plop only one of each kind so that there's no repetition of buildings. So only half of the part of the northern residential area will have absolute big skyscrapers. The second half I'm going to apply the high-rise ban policy so that there are mid-rise to low-rise buildings in the city also. And now I'm planning the rest of the transit system. As you can see, I'm placing this metro station over here. This metro station is again from the metro overhaul mod. Actually, this station is not specifically from the metro overhaul mod, but it's actually converted, I think. And these are very amazing assets which are there on the Steam workshop, and anyone who's playing, I'd recommend that you must use these assets in your city. They're amazing. So I'd like to speak a little about the Metro Overhaul mod. This mod helps you get your metros out of the ground. The actual concept of Metro and City Skylines was that metros remain underground all the time, but some incredibly talented modders and asset creators decided to change this and get metros above ground. Now, in 2020, after the release of Sunset Harbor DLC, this has been added to the base game, but even the base game has a few limitations. We cannot build metro system over roads or the pillars won't spawn. The mod provides a more wide variety of tracks and pillars which you can use to make your metro system look perfect. It has 3 kinds of tracks, as you can see in my UI panel. There's the 1-lane 2-way tracks which can be converted into a 1-way track also. There are the 2-lane 2-way tracks which is 1 up and 1 down, and there are the quad tracks which are 2 up and 2 down. And even the 2-way 2-lane tracks can be converted into a 1-way track. So there are 4 types of pillars which have been provided with the Metro Overhaul mod. There is the median pillar, which is pretty self-explanatory. There are pillars which are split over 2 road cells, the pillars which are split over 4 road cells, and the pillars which are split over 4 road cells with a column in the middle. So the metro system I've built is the northern downtown metro system. So this will start from the central station, go towards the left, which has 2 stations, and then go towards the right, which has 2 stations. So it has total 5 stations on the line. So now I'm making the back alley for my blocks. These back alleys are pretty crucial since I'll be providing the parking for the blocks where all the residents can park. So here's a bit of building placement again, because I want a very well defined, good looking skyline. And I've only chosen those skyscraper assets which would actually look good in my city and would fit the theme.
He was burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. Now I'm on my way, oh I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me.
So now you're seeing me add the main city services, that is power and water, for these new buildings we've placed. And finally, I'm adding the other essential services like fire and police stations, hospitals, and a few elementary and high schools to get the city running smoothly. For the people who like looking at downtown builds, don't worry, there are going to be more episodes when I expand towards the downtown and the other downtown suburbs, etc.
Donn, I don't know what to say when you're with me. I can't say anything anyway, so just believe me. Even if the words don't come out, they're here inside my head.
So I guess we're coming to the end of this episode. If you liked my content and wish to see more, please do subscribe to my channel. And if there's something you want me to improve in, whether it's my voiceover or content, please feel free to write it down in the comments or get in touch with me on Instagram or Twitter. So this is it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.